Welcome to the PTA Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, John Caligiuri. I'm accompanied by a lifelong friend, Josh. Josh, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me, John.
Josh, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. Just a little bit, I just want to introduce Josh. He is in the oil and gas industry. So, Josh, kind of give us your backstory, who you are, where you're from.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, John. Coming up, reporting here from beautiful northern Colorado. I'm out here at Fort Collins at my house. Um, Kind of a little hazy and smoky out there today. We got a wildfire just to the west of us in the mountains that's kind of clogging it up. But who could complain living in Colorado? So I started out knowing John back home in Illinois, and after graduating high school, people went off to their college of respects and whatnot, and I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do. I ended up going to our local community college, trying to figure out, what my best course of action was. And after a little bit of a soul quest or journey, I ended up discovering, engineering, and I've always had a big fascination with the outdoors, with geology and rock mechanics and what have you. And I found the school that's out here in Colorado called the Colorado School of Mines. Now, Colorado School of Mines been around for about 150 years now, a little bit over 150 years. And they primarily focused in rock sciences, earth sciences. Their
So
first and
at
oldest.
community college, did you take strictly engineering classes, or what was kind of your course load when you were at the community college to get to, like, what were you
Yeah.
studying to get to the Colorado School of Mines?
Yeah. So prior to transferring, engineering is very math and physics heavy. Um, you have to take all the way through differential equations at the School of Mines. So my goal was to take every single prerequisite for engineering before my specific major, which was petroleum engineering. So that meant that I had to take physics one, physics two, chemical thermodynamics, fluid mechanics, calculus one through three, differential equations, pretty much every core class for engineering. And then upon transferring to the school, I started up my petroleum curriculum, which focused a lot on reservoir rock properties, reservoir fluid properties. Um, there was a drilling class, a completions class, a stimulation class, well testing, petroleum data analytics, all sorts of heavily rock focused sciences, but also a little bit more of the data analytics side of things because we deal with that a lot, especially if you go into reservoir simulation. But my whole plan at the community college was to get all my math and core engineering classes taken care of. So statics, dynamics, physics, calc one through three.
So you
I
took
took,
all the nerd. So basically, you took the nerd courses. Thank you.
yeah, no
What
kidding.
what was the so at the Colorado School of Mines, you got all your nerd classes out of the way, yada yada, and then what types of engineering programs do they have at the Colorado School of Mines? And is the to get into the oil gas industry, is the Colorado School of Mines like the number one school? Like, what are the options out there for the people?
Yeah, so Colorado School of Mines offers a ton of different classes. It's an engineering school, so they just
Not a
started
video.
introducing. No kid, we actually last 2 years, though it's D2, went to the finals both years, and we now hold the record, or at least John Matoka, our former quarterback, holds the record for all-time leading touchdown scorer in all of college football, whether it's D1, two, or three. Now the defense isn't as good as D1, obviously, but it's
Yeah.
still kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
But they offer lots. It's practically engineering. They offered an economics class, mathematics, or economics degree, mathematics degree now, mainly engineering. Mechanical engineering, I think, is 50% of the school. They have a big chemical engineering program, but the school was built and founded on the earth engineering. So geology, geophysics, mining, petroleum, those are the Colorado School of Mines, mining, earth science. So those are smaller degrees now, but currently the school stands as the number one mining engineering degree in all of the world.
Oh wow.
Petroleum in the US, I think, is number five or six. For instance, other schools you could pursue a petroleum degree at are Texas A&M, Texas Tech, New Mexico Tech, Penn State. You could go to a handful of different schools. Marietta, over in Ohio, I believe, or West Virginia. It's over there somewhere.
In a crap in a flyover state, eh?
Yeah, they have a small program too, but Mines is one of the top petroleum undergraduate degrees, and then one of the top three graduate petroleum degrees offered. I think that has to do with the hands-on learning, the technical research stuff.
So what schools were you considering besides Colorado School of Mines?
Oh,
Give
Colorado
me your
School of Mines.
say we're in ESPN right now and we're doing the 3 hats. You're a 5-star recruit. You're
Yeah,
five
get ready to sign my letter.
Yeah, out of the JUCO. What were your 3 hats?
Man, I really liked the School of Mines. That was my top pick. There was also the St. Louis School of Mines, which is now the St. Louis School of Science and Technology in Rolla, I believe. It's a tiny, tiny program. The reason why I was going to go there, same reason I went to community college, was for cost. I could have went there for free or paid for it while going there. It was, I think, $9,000 a year or something crazy like that. But the other one I was looking at was A&M. But who's going to go to
Texas
A&M?
Yeah, Josh, I think if you went to Texas A&M, you definitely would not be on this program right now.
You'll figure, man.
I'd have to look twice when I get a phone call from you. I'm like, oh, an Aggie.
This guy.
So yeah, you chose your school. So how long was the program? Was it like 12 months, 20, 24 months, 48 months? How long was your program from after getting all your nerd classes out of the way?
Yeah, so I actually spent 3 years at the School of Mines. Product of that was, when I was there, the petroleum degree, my class, I think, was 65 people. So they didn't have the facilities to be able to like load up your schedule and get all my classes taken care of. There was classes that were only offered once a year, the spring semester, the fall semester, and you needed the prerequisite from last fall's before this spring's or whatever the case was. So I ended up only taking about 10 to 13 credit hours a semester. I was taking the 3 classes here and there. So I got as involved as I could at the school. One of the big things that the school prides itself on is like their hands-on learning. I had the opportunity for about 2.5 years. I think it was just over 2 years. I worked in a mine in Idaho Springs, Colorado, on a Sandvik DE-130 coring rig. I got involved with all the clubs. I was the president of the Honor Society.
That's not blow past it at all. Can you break down what do you do in a mine?
Yeah,
give me your day to day. Give me your wake up to lights on to lights off, baby. Chow to chow.
It was probably one of the coolest jobs I had. Definitely the coolest office. So down in Idaho Springs, a former mining town, the school was donated an old copper, silver, and gold mine in the 1920s, I believe, when the mine went bankrupt. And to absolve their debt, they could donate it to the school and just wash their hands of it. So the school started to use it for educational purposes. When I was there, I had a coring rig. Part of my work on the coring rig was to gather data, core samples, and whatnot, help build out different.
What is a coring rig? Tell me what a coring rig is.
Here, let me grab a core for you.
Josh has stepped away to find a core.
So right here is a rock core, right? This was
reminds me of my core.
Yeah, right. You fuck. The purpose was to just gather data. We did a little bit of research stuff. We had a partnership with CDOT, Colorado Department of Transportation. They did a whole fiber project in there. I gave tours. I did oddball work. It was an awesome job. Imagine driving a golf cart around in a mine. I mean, it was super, super cool. I get up in the morning. I get there around 7:30, 8. I'd work there until noon or 1, until whenever my class was. Drive back. It was only about a 30-minute commute. Take class and whatnot. One of the things that I just didn't.
Josh, take me inside the mine. What are the conditions? What are the lighting like? Are you gasping for air? Is it hot in there? Is it cold in there? Like, break it down, Barney style, for the listeners out there, please.
No, it was nice. It was taken care of. It's not a mine you think of where you get on an elevator shaft and go way down and you're hunched over, like an old coal mine or something like that.
That's what I'm envisioning.
Yeah, that wasn't it at all. The side of the mine that I entered was called the portal that I entered in. That's the entrance to the mine.
Portal. I love that.
We were on the actual active mine was on the other side of the mountain. And to get to the road, I-70, to transport all the material, they dug this tunnel through the mountain. And that was the side that I went in on. And we had these different veins that we were working on. The mining department obviously spent just a tremendous amount of time there. But you just would drive up this mountain pass. You'd park on this flattened out plateau. And there was our shack and the shop and whatnot. You just grab one of the golf carts and you just drive straight in. I didn't go down at all. I didn't go up at all. You just would drive right into the thing. And funny enough, there's a famous YouTube channel called the Slow Mo Guys, and they have come to that mine, I think twice now. I got to meet them the last time they came because up above the mine, we have a blast zone where they do a whole bunch of shape charge detonation stuff, and they filmed a couple videos up there. It was pretty cool to meet those guys. I think they had like 10 million something subscribers or something like that.
That's
Two
pretty
British guys.
some Brits.
Yeah.
Did you get to use any shape charge or anything like that, or you not were you not able to handle explosives? Like
No,
the
I mean, I was there when they were, you know, using shape charges to, further expand a vein in the mine. But that was more the mining people than it was me. I just had my own little coring rig, essentially just a small drilling rig, but just to get those core samples.
So what do you do with the core samples? I always hear the Arctic Circle's freezing. We got core samples from God knows
Yeah,
what.
ice
What
plugs
even
and
is a
stuff.
core? What do you do with a core sample?
I could just tell you geological, dating information, different composition. What I would
What
do
does
is
that? How does that move forward engineering? Like Josh, you know me. I'm not an engineer. I can barely read and write. That's why I'm in real estate. What does it do? How does that help America? How does that help human civilization to get a core from the ground?
I mean, think about it like this. So imagine you're building a roadway, right? And you are going to design whatever road construction or plan, design for this roadway, whether it's a 2-lane, a 4-lane, a 6-lane, whatever, right? If you get different core samples of the land you're going to build the road on, you can help develop give it to your civil engineer, help them develop, what they need to do to effectively, have a lifelong road on that plot of land. I mean, there's lots of different things. It just gives you information. It's like helping you get to a conclusion. It's not like, oh, I got this core, we've solved all the world's problems. It's like going to the library and getting one book of 10 that you need to finish a project.
Okay, but for all the listeners out there, if you want to solve all the world's problems, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
So you went through, you did your time, you did your 3 years, you spent time in the mine. So when you entered the oil and gas industry, can you just give me one thing that surprised you about the oil and gas industry that you didn't anticipate going through?
I don't think anything surprised me. One of the things that I'd say to the listeners is very important if you choose to decide and pursue this. There's basically two routes you can go.
Okay.
There's the engineering route, which is what I did, and then there's the field route, right, where you just get into it because they need a warm body, and you just are a laborer. You can have a great career in both. One of the most so there's a lot to unpack here, but let's start with my side of things.
Unpack it.
On my side of things, one thing that's super important is experience, especially if you're pursuing a degree in petroleum engineering and you want to get a full-time job with an operator. An operator is a company like BP or ExxonMobil, Shell, who actually own the land, and it's their design to extract the oil. It's their drilling program, their completions program, their all that. And then they hire what's called a service company, and a service company comes and does the work. They're like a contractor. So essentially, Shell owns the house, and the service company comes to paint the house, or they come to cut the grass, or Shell's not cutting the grass.
Okay.
So if you want to get on with the operator, which is from the engineering side of things, what everyone wants, most people, I can't speak for everyone, but it's a good opportunity. You want to have as much experience as possible and try and get in their internship program. I never did. I got lucky enough to get hired after graduation for that. But since I had all the free time in school, I did everything I could get my hands on. I was leading all the clubs that are oil and gas related. I was the ambassador for the department. I worked in the mine. I did some research for the department. I just did everything I could. And through that, I got to interface a lot with, high up people who donate to the school or come through. Colorado School of Mines is one of the best career fairs. So I helped a lot with delegating and, bringing companies on campus to talk to the students and stuff. So I interfaced a lot with them, and it opened the door up and opportunities for me to go to expos and conferences and through the school paying for it. So I really was lucky with the time that I had available and what I got involved with to not really be surprised when I came into the career. But that's the engineering side. And my goal one day would to be maybe like a team lead or something with a group of engineers and whatnot. But from the the service side, so say you join and you are a roughneck on a drilling rig, right? And you put in your time, you do your 2 weeks on, 1 week off, or whatever your schedule is for 5 years. You go through every single role. You're up in the boards, you're a roughneck, you're the tool pusher, maybe you're the driller.
What's a roughneck? That sounds dope.
Roughneck's just a floor hand. Those old school. There's a statue on A&M of these guys swapping drill pipe with some chain. That it's just what you think of when you think of an oil and gas worker. A roughneck is just a worker.
You said there's a statue of two guys passing a change in Texas A&M.
There's one guy who's changing drill pipe at A&M. Yeah.
Yeah, he's usually if you go to A&M, usually swapping spit with another man too.
The field route. You get as much. The field route's good if you want to become a superintendent. That doesn't mean that I could never become a superintendent one day. The first 5 years of my career are field based, but you have to understand everything that goes on, right? A superintendent's job is to support field operations. So when they call you and say, "Hey, this is going, something's going wrong," you know exactly what they're talking about. Both paths are great, right?
Are they lucrative? This is a business and real estate podcast, baby. Are they lucrative?
That's what everyone says, right? Oil and gas is a lucrative industry, and it is, but it's also cyclical. So, in a downturn, I'm subject to losing my job. If I was a hand on a drilling rig or on a workover rig or whatever, same thing applies. Maybe they have to lay down the rig because economics, right? But they pick it back up in 6 months. It's a cyclical market, but it's worth it. I think it's an awesome market. For those who are interested in maybe pursuing it now or have anticipation of pursuing it in the next couple of years, there's a few. I think it's going to be around for a while, regardless.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on global warming? Let's just cut the cheese, eh? What's your thoughts on global warming? What is Kamala Harris going to do to take your job?
I'm not smart enough to talk about all that stuff, but I know for a fact that we're going to be using hydrocarbon products for at least the next 50 years. It's in everything. It's in the shirt. It's in this hat. It's in these headphones. It's in my glasses. It's in the bedspread over behind me. There's a million different things that hydrocarbons are in that aren't combustion fuels for cars, which I think people don't understand maybe. This vinyl sticker that I got right here, anything plastic. I know we're moving away from plastics or trying to, but there's lots and lots and lots and lots of different things. These companies, these big companies, these operators, I think are all moving towards becoming energy companies rather than oil and gas companies. Shell, for instance,
Josh, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but what's the difference between an energy company and an oil and gas company?
Well, that's exactly what I was about to say, John.
Great minds think alike.
An oil and gas company focuses on oil and gas exploration. It focuses on the extraction of hydrocarbons from the earth. Whereas you get into these energy companies, they're spending an absolute metric ton of money on new energies, right? It could be, typically it more has to do with carbon sequestration and other ventures, but there's lots of money from these companies because they're forced to transition. None of these are going to go down on a sinking ship. So with the stakeholder that they have in the energy industry, they're in their best interest for them to adapt. They're not going to just grow old and fall off the face of the earth. A company like ExxonMobil, they are, if not the biggest energy company in the world. So you'd be foolish to think that they're not spending billions of dollars a year on new stuff to try and, set themselves up for the future of wherever this industry shifts to.
Yeah. Well, Josh, do you have anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, I think what'll be important if someone's looking to get involved with this industry, and it's something that I'm trying to focus on, is the plugging and abandonment side of things and the well intervention. We might not be drilling oil wells in 20 years, all right, or completing oil wells in 20 years, but we sure will be plugging and abandoning them. That means taking them offline. It means setting plugs at certain intervals to isolate the top of the highest hydrocarbon bearing zone and the bottom of the lowest water aquifer. So there's no communication. You cut and cap it, you take it offline, reclaim the land. It's something that's really big, and it's kind of a problem because say you had a company, John, say you had your own oil and gas company, small mom and pop shop, and you sold me your wells. I'm like, yeah, it's a great deal. I want these wells. And now I'm a small mom and pop shop operating it. And you say I go bankrupt, those wells are back to your responsibility to plug and abandon them. But say you're bankrupt, now they're orphan wells, right? Then they fall on the state of whoever, whatever state you're occupying. And P&A and well intervention is kind of what I'm trying to focus on. And I think it's probably the most important part of the industry at this point. It really solidifies our license to operate, especially here in Colorado. We want to show that we're trying to be, as good as possible and, do the right thing as an environmental steward. But that's kind of a really interesting part. There's never a dull day. It's something new every day. And it's what I think is the coolest part of the industry right now.
That sounds like a very enthralling career. And if you have nothing else to add, thank you so much for your time. And to the listeners, thank you so much for listening. God bless and have a good rest of your day.
Take care.